Hello, 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 everybody. Rama from Our Stop Shop. And it's Money Monday. Woo woo. So today's Monday Live. We will be diving into some things that have been like unspoken about, but very, very much so factors. So this Money Monday we'll be discussing um some things that we do as a company and as individuals to live life as a business, even in the most in um, in the most unknown ways, right? As well as we will also be discussing some of the strategies we use to successfully pull off the last Babylon market, where we only had 30 days from beginning to end to get every single thing done without an email list, without any leads already in place, without anybody even really aware of all the different things that our Stop Shop had to offer as a business prior to that event happening. Okay, so this weekend we are planning to take a trip for Mother's Day weekend, right? So this weekend we'll be taking a very, very celebratory and fun trip for Mother's Day weekend to Florida. Um, and a part of that is we plan on doing a lot of stuff. We plan on doing a lot of very fun stuff, but we also, the bill has already started to run itself up just with travel, being able to have a housing, lodging while we're there, a vehicle while we're there, flights, all of those things. And the whole team is going. It's not just like a me thing, right? Okay, so why do I say that? So one of the things that we were discussing yesterday, right? Because we're going to have to get a rental car, bike, whatever. At some point, we're going to need a car because we're going to be there, not just for the weekend. We're going to be there pretty much a week. And so I was talking to the team. I said, look, we're headed down that way. We do the free masterclass, right? And we have this event going on, and we have businesses from all over the country come in for our Buy Black Market. Why don't we just get car magnets to toss into the rental car? Right? So that automatically makes our rental car an advertising expense for the Buy Black Market or for our free masterclass or for both automatically. Just by tossing that magnet on the car, it does not make or break a difference with the vehicle, right? But it now allows for our rental car that we have to get just to have transportation while we're out of town to become profitable for us versus just an added expense to take a trip or a vacation, yada, yada, yada. Right. And so by doing that, that also makes the trip a business trip simultaneously, right? Because it now becomes an advertising trip. It now becomes a business expense overall because of that very simple thing, right? And those magnets can now be used on any vehicle we use, not just that rental car while we're in Florida, but it can come back home. We can toss it on our car or any of the vehicles we use here if we want to. We can toss it on any other vehicles that we may use at some point. So it ends up becoming very, very mutually beneficial all the way around. So that's one thing. Another thing um, that we really did not discuss, and people really um, and so that's not the only way we're going to do that. We're actually there are a number of other things we're going to do. We just today we spent a good amount of time planning out our trip outfits, right? Because I typically stay in workout clothes and business shirts, but since we're traveling and they want to do some extra stuff to celebrate Mother's Day, I was like, cool, maybe I should get some clothes that don't look like I'm always headed to the gym. And so with doing that, a part of that strategy was preparing outfits. So amongst those outfits were obviously some of our business shirts, right? Some of our shirts that talk about what our business does, talks about marketing, things of that nature, just the moving pieces of our business. So all of us will have shirts like that. to where at least one day of the trip, right? Because that automatically ends up being a conversation starter no matter where we go. And that allows for us to brand, get that brand recognition in new markets, be able to discuss the moves we make, possibly make some connections while we're there strategically. So mutually beneficial in a life as business type of way as well, right? We don't have to say anything. The messages we reflect outwardly speak for themselves, and there's power in that. So that is something we also wanted to put a huge emphasis on, because people feel like you have to say a lot for your business, for you to live as a business, and you really don't. Sometimes people are just making note of what they're saying. Now, the awesome thing about our t-shirts that we wear in comparison to the ones we sell to consumers, our t-shirts that we wear actually also have our website on the back of them. So Psalms does, Mines does, Thomas does, Shoulders does, right? So the power in that is we don't even have to tell you how to find us. Boom, it's right there, clear as day. So that's another part of our strategy, right? So we know at least one day, most likely airport days. Why airport days? Because not only will we come in contact with tons of people throughout that day, because we're flying in first thing, we're flying out of town to Florida first thing in the morning. So we'll have that outfit on all day, right? And then same thing, we're flying out super late in the evening. Thomas, I need you. We're flying out super late in the evening to get back. So we'll have that outfit on all day. This one right here. Facebook. And so for those, it ends up becoming mutually beneficial. But now not only are we able to brand in the states that we're going to, we get to brand across the board. Yes, Thomas, just not only do we get to brand in the states that we're going to, but we get to brand in all of the thousands of people we'll cross paths with just being in the airports, right? And I know for a fact that Thomas will end up in sections of the airport that we don't even have to go to because he stays having to go to the bathroom. So bing, bang, boom, double win, right? All right. So those are some of the things we do very strategically to allow for us to add value back to everything we do, or allow for stuff that would have been just really expensive and costly things, exit it all the way out and open it back up. Things that would have just ended up being very costly, expensive things now become something that becomes a part of our business budget, now becomes a part of our deductible expenses, because it serves a mutually beneficial thing to our business model, marketing strategy, stuff like that. Which leads me to the next thing. So for those who fed into the Buy Black market, whether you heard about it, whether you were a business involved in it, whether we use you for products or services in advance, whether go away and do that. Whether we use you for businesses products in advance, for suppliers, for whether you were one of the vendors or you just happened to come across it, showed up, see what it was about, wanted to get a feel of what was going on, yada yada yada, right? Nobody connected to the Buy Black market knew we had it in the works until it was being executed on. What do I mean by that? There were no like, hey, just a heads up, we may be doing this in a couple of weeks, couple of months. There was nobody on an email list expecting to get updates about the Buy Black market far in advance. There was our email list connected to other things, i.e., our free masterclass, our Get Your Life course, any of our consults. What else is on our shirt line? Nobody was aware that we had this huge business thing in the works. And so why is that significant? Well, that's significant because within 10 days, right? Within a 10-day period, we were able to get nearly 400 different Black businesses, actually more than 400 different Black businesses. We were able to get them interested, but we were able to get nearly 400 different Black businesses finalized as business vendors in a 10-day stretch with no prior knowledge of us, with no expectancy of this happening, with no like preliminary preparation or anything like that. It was very much so a lot more impromptu than people it for those who chose to participate. It was very, very quick and a quick call to action for them to execute on. So it was one of those things where they had to have a desire to participate far in advance. They had to be waiting for opportunity to be able to even make those steps or make those strides or have that progress available to them in advance, because you had 10 days from the time we started advertising to the time registration closed to even be able to pounce on the opportunity to do so. And the power behind that means that we know how to very strategically target who we're looking for. Even now, if you happen to come across one of our advertisements connected to the Buy Black Market, either the vendor ones or the event one, you'll notice in those comments, in those likes, in those shares, they are Black people in a space where Black people, even with it being millions of us, we are still very much so a minority. Nobody's asking the right questions. Nobody's wondering how we are so strategically only targeting Black business owners when that's not something you can type in. You can't type in, I'm looking for Black business owners. Like, that is not something made that easy for you. So you have to be very, very strategic in knowing your targeted demographic to even be able to reach people that precisely, that effectively every go around. And now with Apple rolling out this thing where they're trying to block off privacy, block off their users from being able to share information to the same extent they were, it's even harder to very strategically target the Black business demographic amongst all of these people, because half of cell phones at this point are iOS or Apple devices, right? So if Apple devices are blocking you off from being strategically targeted, right? And then that means half the Black community can't be targeted like we were. The other half of the Black community can be targeted, but not every single person is going to be interested in being in business. Not every single person believes that business should come with expenses before they start to see profit, right? So if we're being able to effectively target our community that much, you have to ask yourself, especially if you're in business, how were they able to pull that off in 10 days? How were they able to find 400 people, which it may not seem like a lot, but is a whole lot when 400 businesses of people who are complete strangers or completely unaware of our business have to make a almost instantaneous decision about whether they want to go into this business to business relationship with us, whether they want to participate in an event that they've never heard of prior to this random ad they saw, whether they want to whether they have the capital to be able to put up for this without any prior proof of concept to reference about this specific thing, right? And so that in itself is super, super powerful. But I will say it was not easy. It was very expensive to learn how to do it. It was even more expensive to effectively do it right every go around. It required a different type of level of expertise and attention to detail, right? Because even as we ran those ads and we was hitting thousands and thousands, our ads hit over 250,000 people just in the 10 days we ran ads. Thomas, just in the 10 days we ran ads to target business owner signups, we hit over 250,000 people. And the awesome thing about that is for every person we hit and they engaged and they had a desire to feed into it, there was another person sharing it. So even if they weren't an entrepreneur, or even if they weren't in a position where they were prepared to be able to execute in a level they're required to participate in our trade show style event, they wanted to get the information out to others. We didn't ask anybody to share it. We didn't bring on no recruiters to share it. Nothing, right? We very, very exclusively, we very, very specifically targeted all of the vendor signups. We very, very strategically targeted all of the participants of the event. For a very slight moment, we were trying to be super open-minded. For a very slight moment, for about 3 days, we even allow for other ethnic groups to be made aware about this event, be made aware about the opportunity. And we saw some real backhanded stuff or complaints, and we realized our marketing dollars weren't worth feeding into that way. And we restructured, right? Because we're not about to have All Lives Matter hijack these advertisements that we're investing all this money into to help empower our own community. Even in that, it was very, very strategically done. We knew our targeted demographic. We knew the types of things they woke up and did in the morning. We knew the types of things they cared about. We knew where their passions lie. Like, it wasn't as simple as Black Lives Matter. It wasn't as simple as I'm Black, they Black. All we all know that all skin folks ain't kin folks, right? It required being able to be in the minds of the people who were like-minded as us, but not us, right? Who was similar to Thomas, but also similar to me, but also similar to Shola, but also similar to the owner of Melanated People, also similar to the owners of all of these other initiatives that were kind of like-minded, but not exactly the same. And that required knowing psychographic more than just demographic. That required knowing where our pressure points were, the things that bothered us, the things that drove us to go harder, the things that made us passionate enough to execute on getting this type of business started, the things that made us passionate enough to start learning and researching and sharing the information. All of these little moving nuances and factors ended up having to drive us to be able to do it as effectively as we did with the time restraint that we did. And it also forced us to understand the value of investing in what we believed in and figuring out other ways to make up the difference, right? Our goal is to reach more people outside of our immediate community this go round. So taking a trip and tossing that magnet on the car is a good look. Our goal is to support local Black businesses, even in areas we're not local to. So we know our targeted demographic are going to end up in those parking lots. We know our targeted demographic are going to end up in those businesses. We know our target demographic are going to end up crossing our attire. And in places like Florida, people so gung-ho and doing it for the gram and flexing, yada, 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 that they're always trying to make fashion statements. They're not worried about making like actual meaningful statements. So us talking about Black economic empowerment, us talking about investing, us talking about ownership, while everybody else trying to figure out how to have the best lace front and the best, this is going to be like, oh, well, what do y'all do for y'all not to care enough about what we think about how y'all look, or you not dressing like a local? You get what I'm saying? So it ends up allowing for something meaningful to also turn into something very, very beneficial in business with very minimal effort on our parts. So we're going to invest in those magnets. We're going to expedite ship those magnets. They're going to be a part of our carry-on luggage. That way we can make sure they don't get lost in the meantime, in between time. Hey, how's it going? So it's just those little things will help in a drastic way. They'll give you the leverage and the freedom you need to not just make those huge sacrifices without any benefit to yourself, right? One of the other things we intend to do while we're out there to allow our lives to also be utilized for business is we plan on, I really want to take a boat ride, right? I love cruises. Cruises have been on a definite halt for over a year now, thanks to the pandemic. I wouldn't have got on one anyway, because yeah. But I really want to take a boat ride. So one of the things we most likely will be doing while we're out there is renting out a yacht short term. While we're on the yacht, we'll be recording some videos. The videos are going to be used for marketing and brand development and brand awareness exposure. So guess what? That boat ride automatically becomes tax deductible as well. And right. So that ends up catching a lot of the profit those little things end up catching a lot of the profit that would have led to a high tax liability bill for us on the end of it. But it allowed for us to do all these meaningful things in the immediate. And so it's super important to understand how significant that is. Like, we got a mileage, but Thomas was like, well, can we count the miles from the car rental? Yes, we can. We're driving around. The thing is going to be in the car. They will count as well. So even though it's not our car, the mileage we're driving still counts. So yeah, those are just some of the things I wanted to cover today. If you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to leave them in the comments. Send us a message, give us a call. For those who don't know or who kind of know, if you're interested in any more information on our free masterclass where you can learn 11 money saving and income generating hacks, you can do that by going to our main website, our Stop Shop. If you're interested in the Buy Black market, whether you're interested in working as event staff for it, volunteering for it, to earn some awesome incentives, or being a vendor in it, you can see those details through our website as well. And we have a Get Your Life course happening the last Saturday of this month, 2 p.m. to 7-ish p.m. It might be after 7. That live course is also happening at the end of this month that you can participate in, tap into a lot of these things. And just a reminder, we do offer a number of complimentary consults connected to pretty much every facet of business, finances, affordable products, credit, business, marketing and development, and just overall business development. You guys can always reach out about that as well. We also have like a consult to go over your life insurance policy with you. We will not underwrite it, but we can just let you know some things you may want to factor in depending on where you are in life, even as it relates to that. So yeah, that's this Money Monday live. If you guys have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. We love you guys to life. Boom, boom, boom. And just a